So Atlantis known for their Roman numerals on the back of their jerseys here. We saw their U17s play earlier. This Atlantis team had a bye in the action earlier in the day. So fresh legs coming on for their U19, their older team. They are listed as Atlantis 1 when it comes to the tournament website, but the coaches wanted just to make sure that we know that it's not necessarily 1s and 2s, it's U19, U17 for the designations. And they're just showing how it's done. We have the score from the yellow scrum cap for Atlantis here. Apologies, as we are missing rosters for this group. We'll try to get them as the day goes on. Celtic Barbarians, a team here in the red and the white. A team, a touring side out of Canada. They are an invitational side. They've got players from all over Calgary, from all over Alberta and British Columbia. So we see a roster here showing us Motherlode Rugby, the Druids, Cowichan, Capilano, Calgary Canucks, and then they've got a couple guest players here from Rocky Mountain, who we just saw their girls playing, and from the Utah Cannibals side. So that's the Utah All-State team, if I'm correct on that. This will be a hard-fought battle, this Atlantis team. Deep history. Fun fact, we talked about him before, but the young man, Carlin Isles, spent some time playing in the Atlantis strip. When he was first playing rugby and got identified, he was playing with the gentleman of Aspen. When he was making his crossover, he was right out there. It was Coach Andy Katoa, and that's a club that's seen a lot of fantastic players come from it. Of course, Brian Hightower is their hometown fave. I think that Mike Palafow spent some time out there, too. Yeah, Brian, we're gunning for your jobs here.
I don't think I'm that good yet, but Brian, you do a fantastic job.
Now, Brian actually led me some fantastic tips when we were out at Aspen. I got to see him play on the field in this old boys tournament too, and spent some time talking to Brian and his wife, and asked him about his commentary expertise. So thanks for that, rugby community, both on the field and then in the booth. But Carlin Isles, yeah, playing with Gentlemen of Aspen, and this Atlantis side has done a lot of development work. So before we had the Falcons and the Hawks, this team's been around since 1986, putting players up on the USA team. A great little action, just like you mentioned, for the Celtic Barbarians, executing the switch, but Atlantis didn't bite. They're there to make the tackle.
Defense, very patient. Great ball movement, though. Great ball movement. And speaking of Atlantis, who I saw here today is my former coach and former teammate, Blake Burdett, now the head coach of Penn State.
Yes.
And of 15s. They do have a great 7s program, but he is here watching his Atlantis players from the Pennsylvania region. And so he's excited. I just spoke to him briefly a couple minutes ago, and he's really excited about the depth and the talent that there is in that area coming out of Atlantis.
Yep, and Atlantis really known for a large player base in Pennsylvania. Of course, they draw from all over the country. They've got players on their women's team from several different states. A lot of that due to the fact that a lot of their players were invited to the Girls High School All-Americans. And the coaches that they have, of course, the legendary Emperor Inglesingnes being the one who knows everyone in rugby and is basically the godfather of 7s in the United States. Has had 1,233 players play for Atlantis since their founding in 1986. So 30 years of rugby. They're doing some good work, and they did some good work there, scoring yet another try. This is going to put Atlantis 2 tries up on this Celtic Barbarians team. But speaking of Blake Burdett, I actually was told that there's a young man on the Utah Lions side, Jordan. He's a state champion wrestler here in Utah, wrestling at 225s, the heavyweight division. A fit player, though, playing 7s out here. And they've had some talks about him being able to do both rugby and wrestling. So he's going to walk on the wrestling team. That Penn State team, coached by Cale Sanderson, who isn't he a Utah native?
Yeah.
His family, iconic in Iowa State wrestling. He is the only 4-time national champion to go undefeated. He broke Dan Gable's record from University of Iowa.
He was my younger brother's idol as a wrestler growing up. Cale Sanderson, fantastic wrestler. And they, like you said earlier today, wrestlers make fantastic rugby players.
I made more inroads with the wrestling coaches when I was coaching high school boys out at New Trier High School in Illinois. We talked to the wrestling coaches and we talked a bunch to the soccer coaches because the football coaches don't like as much. And I think now that we have, a lot of these rugby players showing how good they are at tackling and showing what they could do with special teams
Pete
and
Carroll's
one-on-one
doing
situations.
Now.
Exactly,
So
and Atavus integrating football into their programming too. So hopefully this whole myth of football players shouldn't play rugby because they might get too hurt to play football is going to go away.
Yeah, I believe so. And in fact, you start to see it now here with examples in Utah in high school. The Wilsons coaching Harriman, they were the high school football coaches and the rugby coaches simultaneously. So you start to see the crossover now between the two sports, and it's starting to break down these barriers of misunderstanding.
So we'll have a scrum here to the Celtic Barbarians. This is going to be Elliot Johnson wearing the number 15, putting in scrum half. home club, the Druids, and that's a team I've seen up at the Calgary Stampede Sevens quite a few years, going up and playing in Canada. I had my 5-year anniversy of going to that tournament this year, and always a lovely time. So it's great.
5-year anniversary?
5-year anniversary of going to one tournament. I up until this year, I think I had a 17-year streak of going to Lakefront Sevens in Milwaukee.
Don't say too many years. You've already dated yourself in earlier games.
That's all right.
We're past that.
I mean, we're at this point where I can say I've been playing rugby longer than most of the athletes out here have been alive. With the exception of maybe the 2 19-year-olds that are running around. Keegan and the one player we'll see for upright later, you know, the exceptions to the rule.
Oh, great defense.
Yeah, I see good work, and it was good work by Celtic to try to keep the ball alive, but referee says no. There was something that was wrong. We had some infringement. I think it was holding on in the ruck. We have to release the ball when we're tackled. It's not giving a fair play to the defense. We do.
I didn't know that.
You know, it's one of those things, like, we love to favor offense in American sports, but in rugby, with scrums and rucks and kickoffs, they are all open challenges, and the defense has every right to the ball as well.
It makes it more exciting.
Here we have that Atlantis defense coming up with a try off the penalty. So Atlantis taking an early lead, coming out quite strong against this Celtic Barbarians side.
What a really well-run tournament this weekend so far. Right, this is fantastic. Great weather, great pitch, great arena, great area, and great teams.
Absolutely. I mean, 16 fields here at the RAC, and within a few years they're all going to be used for this rugby tournament. We got 6 fields in actions today, so that means that we have to have the ref crew. We have our number 4s, we have our scorekeepers, we have the streaming, and we have the other fields being videoed to later go up on YouTube. So 48 hours after the tournament ends, they're going to have the games up there so everyone can see the action. We have all these volunteers. We've got the best ball girls in the entire tournament here on Field 1.
Shout out. Whoop, whoop.
But it's really well run, and it's been just so much work by our tournament director, Mike Kressler, and the entire Utah Lions team that's been out here setting it up. It's just a credit to the state that they're willing to host it here.
Almost had a great interception there for try time. Didn't quite work out.
No, so we'll see sometimes too the call of the intentional knock-on. That is a penalty call. There are times where that will be issued with a yellow card as well. We've seen only a couple yellow cards today, and they've mostly been due to the high tackles. And now we have another call, not releasing, says referee Michelle O'Brien in the middle, wearing that green jersey with the USA refs. She is a referee that's come up. She's actually originally from Wisconsin. So we knew each other back when I lived in Milwaukee. And then she since moved out to Montana and then to Seattle. And look at Celtic making the most of it. They've got a tryout of Jake Land, plays for Capelanos. It's a team out in British Columbia. See their name come up in the BC League, especially with the Seattle Saracens playing out there. And we went up to the Vancouver Sevens back in March alongside the World Rugby Tournament and participated in their side tournament. They had a Vancouver Sevens tournament that was hosted at the Brockton Oval. Lovely facility there, just one field, so nothing like our 16 fields here at the RAC. Yeah. Well, one main field, I should say.
No, they're looking really good, and I believe the city of Salt Lake City and in the state of Utah, I mean, they've been putting a lot of effort into growing the game by attracting new players and developing the game through infrastructure, really, if you think about it.
So coming into halftime here, it is Atlantis Rugby leading, but it is Celtic with a little bit of a comeback, 17-7. It was all Atlantis for the first 6.5 minutes of this game, and the Barbarians, in the last seconds of this half, taking advantage of a couple penalties against Atlantis. We saw not releasing indicated by the referee. We'll see what adjustments their coaches make at halftime. So we've got plenty of subs here when it comes to the Celtic bench. The same goes for Atlantis. Again, this is the Atlantis 1, according to the website. It is their U19 team, though. That's their differentiation this weekend. Both their U19s and U17s playing in this U18 elite, elite bracket. And I keep on referring to them as U19, but they've got birthday cutoff dates. The tournament was very careful. They had all the players check in with IDs. We did that at City Creek Mall yesterday. They did the weigh-ins with the U14s as well, trying to keep that a little bit more of an even playing field, just to, with the different sizes people can be.
I remember those days, having to make weight.
Yeah, back in wrestling days?
Well, no, I didn't wrestle, but I remember starting out as a 12. I was an inside center. And when Blake Burdett took over at Utah, he was like, you're playing front row. You need to pack on 50 pounds. And so I packed it on, and I never looked back. So I made weight in a different way. I had to increase my weight.
You gain weight, right? Yeah. You had gains with a Z.
He put a lot of weight on me.
Well, you just look at all the tools it really takes to be a complete rugby player, too. And we look at ball skills, we look at mental skills, we look at footwork, you look at power, and you look at strength, and you look at endurance versus speed. And we talked about like different tests before. So you have the yo-yo and the beep test and the flip-flop. And a lot of people will time, people were in love with like, the 40 yards because of football. And now there's a lot of coaches just looking at the 10 and 20. They want to see how the first steps are because we have these 10 meters so important on the kickoffs and making a play in the air. Atlantis looking to get that 10-meter kickoff and recover. Free kick though to Celtic Barbarians. But so we're looking at that 10-meter space and that 20-meter space beyond it, so you can see how they accelerate after their first few steps too. And so we see teams where they're using strength and conditioning coaches, but using sprint coaches, doing all kinds of work with like yoga and Pilates for the core strength and recovery too. It's not easy. I know. There's been some fantastic series on strength and conditioning coming out of Rugby Canada with Bianca Farella, if I recall correctly, was the one who was putting out a series there. And then Les Spellman, who works with the Atavis group down in San Diego, actually had some clips where he was coaching Natalie Marchino with Colombia. So she's a player that played on our USA team in the Rugby World Cup, qualifies for Colombia for the Olympics because she was not a USA passport holder. And so Les actually traveled to Colombia with her.
Oh, wow.
And they had some interviews on like Colombia news stations, I think down in either Cali or Bogota. And so they had translators and everything too. And they showed Les Spellman doing footwork drills with the entire Colombian women's team.
Oh, that's great. We've got a dogfight today. We've talked about the 2-try lead here. It almost means nothing. You cannot become complacent whatsoever in sevens.
Not at all. If Celtic were to get in a try here, we could be looking at a 17-14 game, and then it just takes another try. So it's 2 tries for Celtic. Atlantis is going to want to add to their lead. They came out so strong to start this game. Now Celtic with a little bit of a comeback, so we'll see. We see teams bringing their players on. Atlantis subbing on their number 12. Everyone gets to test their Roman numeral appreciation here. We learned those things in school, and so when are we going to use them? And here we go.
Here we go.
Thanks,
I got Atavis's pronunciation wrong. I've been saying it wrong for months. I kept calling him Atavis. I guess that's my Utah, the Utah accent.
Right, it's okay. I was saying Alta up until yesterday, so now I say Alta. It's okay. So we saw number 4 come off for Atlantis as number 12 came on, and it's Atlantis on the attack now. So we saw a scrum down on the other side of the field, and it is Atlantis bringing it about 40 meters back down. They are in their attacking quadrant. We see different coaches talking about the ways you break the field down, and some will break it down just into like a red, white, blue, left, right across the field, or a red, yellow, green in terms of depth on the field too. And I've seen some coaches break it down into like 25 different zones.
Right. I like to keep it simple. When I was coaching, it's three zones. Especially for your front row players, from 15s, you got to keep it even more simple.
I was a front row player for quite some time. I started out my career as a number 8, playing at Northwestern University and getting able to play on different U23 teams too. But as I moved on to various U23 teams and into senior teams, definitely made that transition to the front row because I was never the speediest player. Endurance was always my game. But I was mad when I first started playing rugby because I wanted to be a prop because I thought they were like the strongest and the most ferocious on the field too. So when we first came out to practices, I was like, no, I want to do that. And I had to play 8. But I'll tell you that the way to really keep your rugby career strong when we're talking about the 15s game is be willing to play second row.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think any team will pick you up if you say you're second row eligible. If you can play in the tight 5, you'll find a spot on any team. So we see a couple more adjustments here from the Celtic Barbarians, bringing on number 9 was Nolan Twomey, and I apologize if I get that wrong.
I believe this is a new style jersey without a jersey, going skins now, I think, is the new thing.
Do you know that according to World Rugby laws, jerseys actually do have to have sleeves?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, you see some players like rolling up and everything too, but
we have a player running on the field without a jersey on, so I'm thinking, wow, is this the new style jersey they got? Or what?
I imagine he'll swap out with someone.
Skin color jersey.
These are some great fields, but it'd be pretty rough getting tackled on grass, and you might end up with a few cuts if you were to go jerseyless.
Typically, yeah.
But we see this happening again in front of us too. So Celtic Barbarians embracing the true camaraderie and sharing and rugby and here and everything, getting really close. But they did bring on a couple other players too from the Utah Cannibals and from Rocky Mountain. So that might be the reason for these jersey switches. Sometimes these touring sides have their jerseys for their players, and the players are the ones that buy them and keep them. So there could be a few things at play. We'll get some clarification as this tournament goes on. So we see a nice scrum out to Atlantis. They've got the numbers on the outside. However, it's their center with a break up the middle. And look at that speed. That's the number 6 for Atlantis. We'll have to get his name. I'd expect more tries like that from him as the rest of the day goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the rest of the entire tournament. That was a fantastic move.
It was. It was a solid scrum. It was a good attacking platform for them, too. And he gets it right under the post. We got the kick Kick pending here. Should be an easy conversion for the Atlantis number 8. And he does slot it, is indeed good. So Atlantis is going to go up 24-7 here in the second half.
9 for 5. 9 for 5.
We have Atlantis bringing out another sub. Their number 9 coming on for their number 5. And we saw that barrage of subs for the Celtic Barbarians. So both teams making use of their deep benches as the day goes on, playing in this elite competition. You know, it's a long day of rugby, and this is some tough rugby. A lot of these players have been playing for a good amount of their career, being asked to play for teams like this. This Atlantis team featuring players largely from Minnesota, but they got players from from Pennsylvania. Goodness, they do have women's players from Minnesota out here, though.
Aren't you from Minnesota, or are you from Illinois?
No, I'm from Illinois. I'm from the suburbs of Chicago.
There you go. There you
There's
go.
number 6 again.
There's another one. Yeah.
We'll flag Emil. If there's anyone to ask about numbers and who players are, they will let us know. And this is number 10 for Atlantis. He's going to give one of his teammates a breather here. He's got. I would pick that one. I'd want the X jersey. Either the X or, the number 1. But it is impressive over the years. This Atlantis team been around since 1986. So that's 30 years of rugby, 1,233 players between their senior teams and between their juniors. Really growing this youth aspect of their game. We're going to see their men's senior side play in Rugby Town Sevens in Denver in just 4 weeks.
4 for 6.
The Stars Rugby Sevens program that I run will be playing there as well. We are in the same pool with Upright Rugby, who has their junior teams here. We also face off teams like Glendale, the Denver ODA. Atlantis will be there with their senior men's team, and actually you mentioned young Keegan Barnes from the Utah Lions will be playing on the Atlantis men's side for that tournament, so getting more experience as a youth player playing up.
It's just so fun to see all the competition.
Well, what's really great is that we got teams coming over from the UK for that as well. We have all the armed services that are going to be there. Number 6 doing it all. Tackles out of touch, goes with a quick line out.
Not 5 here, free kick.
Oh, but referee Michelle O'Brien says no, not 5. So the line-out throw has to go 5 meters. In this quick line-out scenario, it has to go straight or backwards, as long as no player has touched the ball.
Great line, great line.
But it doesn't even matter because taking advantage of the free kick from that infringement of the ball not going 5, it's Celtic getting about 8 meters from the try line here. A nice break weaving. They get another penalty here. Offside's called against Atlantis.
Oh, great behind the back.
I think there's more of a switch. If we had replay, we could go to it.
Yeah, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's make him look.
If anyone's watching, you can tweet us. Do you think switch or behind the back?
that was a great Jason Williams style basketball pass. Behind the back.
As long as they avoid motorcycles. Wasn't Jason Williams the one that got into a big motorcycle accident?
I don't know.
Like, it impacted his
I've been
contract?
watching his highlight videos a lot lately. The guy was phenomenal, but that looked just like it. Great play, great pass.
I think we talk about this from time to time. If you were to take a bunch of basketball players and convert them to rugby, who would be the best? And you know who my picks are? Steve Nash and John Stockton.
You know, I'm with you with Stockton. Nash, you think so?
Nash was a phenomenal athlete. That guy played soccer.
You know, he was a great skateboarder too. I'd throw that in there.
And the ability, like the assist and just how scrappy they are, and their vision, like to thread the ball, how they do.
Chris Paul would be up there then.
I mean, everyone wants to say LeBron, but I'm sorry, I'm not a LeBron James
It's all
fan.
about Karl Malone. Karl Malone.
Well, you know that I'm from Chicago, so I'm always going to go with Michael Jordan.
No, I think Pippen makes a better rugby player than Jordan.
Pippen would be great on defense, yeah, but what Dennis
but you gotta
Rodman.
go Rodman,
You got those guys with their aerial games too, right?
Definitely have to go around. Absolutely.
But I'll tell you what, if we're going to pick a standout player from this last game, I'm going to go with his number 6 from Atlantis. We had Royale Jones. We got a confirmation on his name. Scored a lot of tries. His hands up with this play. You can tell that he's really got a nose for the game, or I should say a head for the game. A nose for the ball, a mind for rugby. Great tries, great running. Of course, his teammates doing all the work to support and get the ball to him and scoring their own tries.
Great awareness, right? He had great vision of the field, great speed, and great ball skills. Just a heads-up athlete. I would definitely give those kudos for sure.
Yeah, a couple of great plays out of Celtic Barbarians. 33-14. I don't think that the scoreline shows just how intense of a game this was. This is the boys' elite. It's going to keep improving as the day goes on. And we are going to take a little bit of break here on field 1. We're going to come back with another boys' elite game. We're going to have the Upright Rugby Rogues against the Utah Lions elite. This is going to be a match. So
Yeah, stay tuned. That'll be a fun one.
See you soon.